You know, they're selling y'all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I back. Trust me, I back.
But I'm not impressed by your performance.
You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing. Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Not one of you'll do nothing.
I'll tell you what, bro. You know, I was out there, I was fighting all the hitters, bro. You ain't fought no hitters.
Come on, guys. It's normal.
I'm not saying I would fight you. I would kill you.
John, do you think? John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? I mean, really?
No, don't be scared, homie.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ
I'm gonna beat you into the living death. I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, you know, people like that get slapped.
That's fucking illegal.
Nick Diaz, you just shook up the world. How's that feel?
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Yeah, this is a simulated death match. And you haven't simulated anybody's death yet.
I said it last year. We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
What is the game plan going in against him?
The game plan is you go in there, hit him with some good shit, don't get hit, and come home with a pocket full of cash.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
Do you want to be a fighter? That is my question.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. I want smoke.
Yes. It's Mixed Combat Radio, another daily edition of the show. We are live every day, Monday through Friday, and obviously Saturday for live fight chats and media reactions. And it is KSI versus Logan Paul. Media reaction. Call in 323-870-4051 to call in. Press 1 to get in the queue. What do you want to say? Usually this channel covers legitimate fights. Like, this channel is a channel that is for the top ranked card later tonight, the UFC card and FS1 later tonight. Those are cards we're going to cover, do live fight chats and media reactions for as well. So if you're out there and you're obviously more of the listener or the hardcore listener of the show, don't worry. I know this is probably thinking, what the fuck is this shit? And you probably want to give me gunshots. I understand, but just relax right there, because obviously this is just for the casuals. I'm hoping that if you're out there and you stumble upon this and you're a Logan Paul fan, a Jake Paul fan, whatever it is, and you've never watched boxing before, I hope you stick around, and watch other boxing events, other MMA events, other combat sports cards. Because basically, while this was, I think, fun, like this was entertaining at some aspect, like a WWE aspect, there's legitimate fights that are 1,000, 1,000,000 times better than this. So obviously, I hope you guys can stick around. Any of you casual fans out there that stumble upon this, any of you Jake Paul fans, Logan Paul fans, KSI fans, whatever it is, hope you stick around. Hit the like button, share, subscribe if you're on podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Leave a review. And quickly, before we get into the actual fights itself, shout out to everyone in the chat. Football Index Trading, CMD, Boxing Reports, and a Johnny. Check out a Johnny on SoundCloud, AJXNI. But let's get into it, because, like I said, this was entertaining, for what it is. I'm not going to sit here and try to be like an old head and shit on this, whatever it was. It peaked at 850,000 live viewers that paid to watch it. Whatever the final number will be in the 5 to 10 million, 15 million range, whatever it is, it's a lot of eyeballs watching boxing. That is always a net positive. But let's get into the fights itself. Start off with the co-main event. Jake Paul versus Deji. I'm sorry if I get the name wrong. I really don't know the UK YouTubers as much as Logan Paul and Jake Paul, and just from the US. I see them on Facebook and all that stuff, constantly, especially a few years back. So I just know them a little bit more. But the fight itself was interesting. Jake Paul, obviously, phenomenal jab, and DG just really had no idea how to get around that. Obviously the cardio was a factor. I think both guys tired out after the second round, but that's to be expected. If you're not used to this, especially in doing it in front of 25,000 people, millions watch on YouTube, most amateurs and just boxers in general, they work through that way to get to this spot. and not everyone gets to this spot, and not everyone can handle this spot. And they sort of just jumped from 0 to 100, so got at least salute them for that. But there's just massive size difference in that co-main event. Easy win for Jake Paul. I know he called out, I believe, Chris Brown afterwards. Sure. I mean, I guess leave a comment below if you think that's a fun fight, if you would pay pay-per-view on YouTube to watch that one. And overall, I just think that, again, Jake Paul just outclassed Deji, and he was just obviously, just bigger, better cardio, and I think he was more mentally in there. Whatever credit you want to give to the commentary team, because they were entertaining, to say the least. They're probably the most entertaining part of this event. The three of them, all YouTube personalities, I believe. I don't really know them. They talked about the demeanor of DG going into that, and I really didn't think about it too much, but it turned out to be true. Definitely the mental side of the fight, Jake Paul seemed to have won that from the get-go. And then on top of that, he just was a clearly better fighter. Moving on to the main event. And, after the main event, we're going to wrap up. Unless you call in, remember 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. If you are international, you can email me, mixedcombatradio@gmail.com, to get that international call-in link. But the main event, KSI versus Logan Paul, a great sort of back-and-forth fight. And I'm using, obviously, that very loosely in this context. So if you're listening and you think, how can it be a great fight? In this context, it's entertaining. You put this compared to, even fights like Alexander Usyk versus Marius Briedis, obviously it doesn't match. But anyways, digressing, KSI versus Logan Paul. KSI, in my opinion, won the fight. I thought he won every round after the second round. I'm not upset with the draw. And that's one more round giving to Logan Paul. I'm not too upset with that. And again, I think both guys, obviously their cardio was a factor. But in the first two rounds, Logan Paul was dominant. His distance management, his ring generalship, his jab, it was all on point. And he was actually, tagging KSI a few times and looked like he was going to hurt him, and just never actually followed through. He tired out. And then obviously KSI came in and figured out that, yes, Logan Paul does not keep that left hand up. If he does jab, he scoops water with it, and he just drops it back to his waist. That overhand right's going to be there over and over and over. And once you do that overhand right, the left hook's going to be there naturally. Logan did a good job of smothering some of KSI's work, and I think KSI smothered some of his own work as well. But clearly, I think KSI won that after the second round. Logan tired out, had a huge cardio dump, and then KSI came in and just kept tagging him, figured out that minor adjustment he needed to make, and was piecing him up. But we're going to go out to the phone lines because it's only those two fights, and it's, air quote fights. Like, let's be honest here. But again, if you're a KSI fan, if you're a Logan Paul fan, still hit the like button, subscribe to the show, because this channel will not cover any of those guys again unless they're boxing. But I guarantee you're going to find much more exciting fights out there tonight on FS1, on ESPN, Box Nation, BT Sports, wherever you are. There's going to be legitimate, amazing, world-class, world-level fights, and also on top of that, world-level athletes. These guys are not world-level athletes, especially in the undercard. That was just very obvious that how bad some of these guys are, how bad some of these YouTubers are, and how they really need I don't know, like, it is what it is. Drew in the chat saying Z with a bunch of Z's, saying it was all boring. Yeah, it is what it is. Thank God we do have Justin Gaethje versus James Vick, and also Ray Beltran versus Jose Pedraza, and Isaac Dogbay coming back tonight. God versus Otaki. Some great fights ahead. Actual world-level fights. But we're going to head into the callers. Santiago is on the line, one of our co-hosts. He will be here in studio later today. Santiago, how you doing?
Doing good. It was definitely a hell of a way to start off a Saturday morning, that's for sure. I had it playing on the background just to like have some noise and whatnot, and I did pay attention to a couple of the fights, and obviously they're subpar at the very least. For me, these are guys that I would have expected to be like people who participate in TBV's Border Wars and stuff. And I mean, there's not much to say. Some of the fights are actually pretty good. The third fight wasn't too bad, even if it was a wild, messy slugfest. Kudos to Jake Paul getting the 5th round TKO victory. I actually thought Deji was like on his way to win it when that happened. And shades of Canelo Triple G rematch right there with the main event, huh? Right down to the fact that they gave one of the scorecards to the other guy. And the crazy thing too is that there is contracted for a rematch on there in the United States, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes at this point. But
it's gonna be it's gotta be Vegas, right? It's gotta be Vegas. You don't think the T-Mobile will pay to have a bunch of fucking 10-year-olds and 13-year-olds with their parents there? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, just look at that atmosphere from the Manchester Arena, dude. It looked pretty packed. Just wait till Robbie gives us two pence worth of like what the atmosphere was, because he was there live too.
Yeah, shout out to Robbie Hearns there with his stepson. I hope he had a good time. Definitely wonder what the atmosphere like. It seemed like it was fun. Like, and I described it this way to somebody on Twitter. Like, to me, it's the WWE like with actual punches and headgear, and it's not world class athletes, and that could be fun. Like, that could be entertaining. I watched so much bad boxing that this was all right to me. Again, it's a bunch of young guys watching the sport, and that rarely happens in boxing.
Yeah, and you said that this could only be a net positive too. You got a lot of new eyes on the sport. A lot of these YouTubers were probably not in the best of shape and whatnot, and this was their first time getting into some kind of physical activity. So, kudos to them putting in the work and effort to do this, to want to do this and everything,
And I also say this, like, if this was like CM Punk versus like a legitimate fighter, right? If this was one of McGregor versus Mayweather, like, then you could sort of make arguments that it's a net negative to the sport because it's taking world-class fighters and making them fight sideshow circus fights, right? This to me is a sideshow circus fight between two guys that aren't fighters. So it's not like they're taking someone's spot. It's not like they're taking someone's network slot. It's none of that's happening here. So that's why, again, it can only be good. It can't be bad. Though there's definitely a lot of people upset about this in the boxing media, which is hilarious to me.
Oh, yeah, you can't be surprised too. There are gonna be a lot of those purists out there that are gonna be all like, "Man, I can't believe people fucking paid for this shit and whatnot." So it's like, it is what it is, and I don't have much to say at this point. If you have any other questions, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, I'll see you later this evening for the UFC and boxing events.
Yeah, I'll see you later, Santiago. And final thoughts on that before we wrap up, obviously. Remember, if you want to call in before we do wrap up, 323-870-4051, call in. Ellie in the chat asking, what time does Dog Bay fight? The main card is at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That means he is probably fighting 8:30-ish. I know Michaela Mayer is actually going to be on TV. She's not going to be on ESPN. Plus, she's going to be on the actual televised portion of the card, from what I believe, because I think Top Rank was promoting this as her TV debut, which was shocking to me. I'm surprised Michaela Mayer has never been on TV and she's only been on the prelims. But digressing, that's a rabbit hole I don't want to get down. But yes, Dog Bay should be on 8:30-ish Pacific Standard Time, which will be around 11:30 probably in the Eastern Standard Time, and then what is that in the UK? That's 4:30 a.m. I want to say. My math could be a little bit off on that. It could be like 3:30, but anyways, it's around that time. Great fights. Again, we should be live fight chat for that. I don't know how it's going to be structured, whether we're going to do two separate ones for the UFC card and the boxing card, or one conglomerate, or just immediate reaction. I don't know what we're going to do. When Santiago gets there, we're going to sort of decide about it in the studio. But you will get tons of content tonight because we will be off air on Sunday and Monday for my kid's birthday, which should be a lot of fun. Going to the Dinosaur Museum. Dinosaurs are dope. Just saying. He's very scared of Jurassic Park, but digressing. Logan Paul, KSI, all that fun stuff. It is what it is. You know, for all the boxing purists that are out there, they're, you know, complaining about certain guys not getting this shine. That's undue, or part of the blame should be on the networks, on their promoters, etc., because there's a lack of marketing dollars in the sport of boxing. And one thing that KSI, Logan Paul, obviously they have a built-in huge audience base, and, you know, 12 million subscribers, 10 million subscribers, you know, massive built-in fan bases. But so does Showtime. So does ESPN. So does Fox. You know, these have natural built-in fan bases that you can tap into, that if you put the right money in and put the right push behind, yeah, like you can start building these guys up in these fights up to a more massive level. But there's not that marketing presence in the sport of boxing. And also, when there is, it's subpar. Even though KSI and Logan Paul probably ripped off everything they did from major fights that have happened, to their poster designs, to their promos, to the press conference, everything they've done, they've ripped off from big fights. But that's smart. Big fights rip off promotional ideas, building up ideas off of other big fights. Like that's evidence on how to build up mega fights. They did that. They took Jose Aldo, Conor McGregor posters and made it their own. They did X, Y, and Z and made it their own. Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather press conference, they made it their own. And if you're a Eddie Hearn out there with Matchroom USA, look at that. Look at how it's being done to build up fights like this. Look at how it's done with Mayweather and McGregor. And you have to copy that. And then otherwise, you're going to have to expect that these fights do low viewership. These fights have low payout, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that the boxing purists, instead of focusing their vitriol on people enjoying this, because this is entertainment. Like, it's the entertainment industry. If you're out there and you're a boxing fight on prime time, you're not just competing with boxing. You're competing with every other source of entertainment on at that time. You are. You're competing with baseball, reality TV shows, sitcoms, movies, everything. You're competing with that. And I think these YouTubers at least understand that in some capacity, and they understand how to tap into that, how to push it, you know, how to push the levers of the system into promoting their fight. They figured it out. And I think boxing promoters and networks know I figured it out too. They're just very tight with the money and the budgets and how to do that. But again, be back later tonight, same time. No, not same time as always, but should be around the same time. ESPN card, like I said, it's having a little bit of a later start time. UFC obviously goes on a little bit late. Don't know how it's going to be structured, but we'll be here. I am leaning towards a huge live fight chat the second Santiago gets here for all of our Patreon members, patreon.com/MakeSummitRadio, and then a free immediate reaction with callers, etc. afterwards. So yes, that might be a possibility. So if you don't see a live fight chat, because it might be on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/MakeSummitRadio. I am Matt, the Hipster Hunter. It's good to be back in the chair. It's gonna be sad to leave it for a couple days, even though it's for a good reason. Be back later tonight. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the show. Mikey T saying KSI won. It was a robbery. Yeah, it was controversial. It was controversial. I'll get that. I'll give you that to you. Drew saying back to the Niner game. Peace. Go Niners. Have a good one.